Let's go ahead and get started. This is the official meeting of the Livingston Parish Council. Today being December the 1st, 2016. All public notices have been sent out, and we have I believe we have a quorum, but let's make sure. Miss Sandy, would you call the roll to make sure we have a quorum here today?
Yes, sir. Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Talbert.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Mack.
Here.
Mr. Averett.
Here.
Mr. Lobel.
Here.
Mr. Wascom.
Here.
Mr. Ard. Mr. Girlinghouse.
Here.
If you are joining us on TV tonight, you just were able to catch us because the lights were off and we just got them back on. So thanks to a great engineer who's your employee, got us going again tonight. So can we, before we get started, is it asking too much if we stand up and have an invocation? Mr. Bubba Harris, I believe, is going to do the honors of a prayer tonight.
Well, I have invited my cousin, Ronald Harris, to lead the invocation.
All right. Mr. Ronald, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Father, it's so wonderful to know that you're in our presence, Father, all the time. We thank you for your love that you give us, Father. And Father, I ask you to pray for the ones that suffered the losses that they so lost during this great flood of 2016 that we had, Father. And I ask, Father, you just wrap your arms around them and comfort them, Father, and give them the strength they need to put their lives back together in their homes. And Father, I ask that you pray for the one that's in Tennessee and Gatlinburg, for the fire that's taking place there, so the lives that's been lost, and also their homes and belongings as well, Father. And there's no one greater than you, Father. You are the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, Father, and we just cherish every moment of that, Father. And we ask that you pray for our soldiers, our military, Father, the men and women that fight for our freedom, our law enforcement officers as well, Father, as they put their lives on line every day for us. And Father, we just thank you for your love again, and we ask, Father, that you forgive us of our sins. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Harris, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for taking the
Better
time.
known as Mo Harris.
Mo Harris.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
Mr. Avery, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Tonight, if you'll just make double check, I'm reminding myself to turn my cell phone on silent just so I can concentrate. Just to let everyone know, anytime there's an item come up on the agenda, there will be a room for public comment. If you want to speak on something, please raise your hand. You'll be acknowledged by the chair. Come to the podium, give your name and your address, and try to limit your comments or questions to 3 minutes. And if you have questions, please address them to the council. And if you're in the audience and you have questions, please don't ask questions of anyone standing at the podium, and try not to get into conversations with people as they're standing at the podium. But everyone will have a chance to speak tonight and have questions to the council. I don't think we had any presentations tonight, but item 8 is the adoption of the minutes from the November 10th, 2016 meeting. Miss Sandy worked really hard putting those together, and they've all been delivered to you in your drop boxes. And so a motion to adopt those minutes as written would be in order. Motion by Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse, seconded by Mr. Bubba Harris. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Is any nays? The motion carries. The minutes are now adopted. Item 9 is something I asked to be put on here, was since Marshal Jerry Denton got elected to judge, he will be vacating the office of Ward 2 Marshal. That office, according to Secretary of State's office, will be held by the Chief Deputy, Joe Shoemate, who will not be here tonight because he was taken to an emergency room for some minor accident. But I'd like to table that until the next meeting, if that's possible. Ms. Sandy, can you make sure that gets on the next agenda?
That's going to work within the time frame, Sandy, how long we have to make these appointments?
Well, and the thing about the Secretary of State's actually the one that makes the appointment. We're just ratifying the appointment made by the
Okay.
Secretary of State. So what we thought was a timeline is not.
Okay, good.
Good? Item number 11 is the most handsome man here tonight, Mr. Mark Harrell. Would you be so kind to come to the podium?
John, that ain't what you said a while ago, buddy. What you need? That ain't what you said a while ago.
Dr. Bond said he's open tomorrow.
Well, excuse me, Leighton, did you have a report, or?
No, but I thought you were talking about.
$100 later. Thank you, thank you.
You see what the president thinks about you.
Okay. What we probably want to do to get started, to Mark, I don't mean to cut ahead of you, but there's a couple items he's going to want us to lift the agenda on. And so, one is for the internment, I believe, for
Reinterment
of coffins that have floated up during the flood. And another one is for fire department. So before we discuss it, can we get a motion to lift the agenda to add those two
I'll make a
items?
motion.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, second by Mr. Jeff Averett. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. That item has been lifted, so you want to pick up those two items?
I will.
Thank you.
You want to do it now?
Yes.
All right, the first one is the reinterment issue that we have in the parish. And it falls under our office to make sure it happens, and we work with DHH and the Attorney General. It's a legal issue. I have it on the agenda. Mr. Moody's looked at it. I'd like Mr. Moody to explain it to you and see if you can support it.
Yeah, what we're asking for is a resolution to authorize us to join with the Attorney General to file the necessary legal documents to get court authority for us to reinter these graves. This is the first cemetery that we'll be working on. I think there will be as many as 15 that have problems across the parish. So this is it's fairly routine. It's not controversial, but it does require a resolution to authorize us to get involved in that
This
lawsuit.
is based on the individuals that we couldn't identify family members. This is all it's related to?
That's what it is. We have people that have stepped up, basically, and adopted the person. Everyone's been identified now. Some of the family members couldn't locate them. Some didn't want to step up and file the IA claim with FEMA to pay for the reinterment. So we're protecting everyone that's wanting to do the adoptions. Our office, all of you, and everyone from a lawsuit later. Okay. It's just a protection.
Give us legal cover.
All right.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Talbot, seconded by Mr. Shane Mack. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? None being, that carries.
Chris, is this gonna cover we're not gonna have to do one every time we do
No,
it. This
sir.
will cover all of them.
This
right?
is generic, yeah. Yes, sir.
Let me make that correction. I just found out that those are caskets, not coffins. I did not know that.
They're caskets, they're a little bit of everything, believe it or not.
I did not know, but
It's been an issue.
my favorite mortician
Right.
just told me about that. So next item, I'm
I saw him
sorry.
snicker a little
Mortician,
bit.
Martian, what?
Yeah, he's all of the above. All right, can I go to the next one?
Yes, please.
All right, the next one is asking for resolutions allowing Fire District 2 and Fire District 4 to apply for the community disaster loan. They've already applied, and they came back and said, look, you really need a resolution from the parish authorizing it. I'm doing it on their behalf, and I ask y'all to support that.
All
So
right.
it'd be two separate resolutions, but you could vote on them together, I believe.
So it'll be a resolution giving approval for Fire District 2 and Fire District 4 to submit applications for the community disaster loan. Mr. Bubba Harris makes that motion. Mr. Tab Lobel seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? None being, that motion carries.
Now, I don't have anything I need you to vote on, but I'd like to cover something real quick.
Okay, let me close this meeting and get
Okay.
back to the regular meeting. So a motion to, by Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse to close
Go back.
the lifted agenda and go back to the regular agenda, seconded by Mr. Scooter King. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, back to the regular agenda, Mr.
Okay, and
Harris.
it's not on the agenda, it's just, I'd like to discuss debris just for a moment.
Debris, yes, yes, please.
I'm gonna say we're 90-something% complete. but we're still having problems with people coming, putting trash out on the road, next to the road, in the road, everything else. So I gave you a press release that I'd like to put out. In that press release, it basically says that by December the 17th, you must notify our office with the address of where the debris is located. If it's off of the road where we have to do get on private property, we need you to fill out the right of entry. All that must be done by December the 17th. After that, we'll finish the final cleanup. But if anybody calls in on the 18th and on, we're not gonna pick it up. It's come a point in time, guys, where
You gotta draw the line.
you have to draw the line. I mean, really, we're gonna have to cover the 10%, and the 10% is getting up there, so.
Sure.
And a couple of you have, complained pretty heavily to me. I'm not gonna call any names. But no, I understand, and it's legit. We need to cut it off.
Sure.
We're 4 months since the deed. I mean, pretty much, if you're gonna gut your house or have debris, you should already done it by now. If not, it's time to tear it down. But we're kind of at that point, and so, everybody who should be generating storm debris should have addressed it, should have it to the road by now.
very few
Or
are
at least
still
sign
ripping
the
it out.
form so Mark can go up on their property and get what they need to get.
Sure.
I think the only thing, some people are, like you said, they're still tearing out. And the reason they're waiting is because they were dealing with their insurance, and they really didn't know what to do. So
And
that was.
I've had a lot of those calls, Mr. Bubba, but they can still tear out. The insurance is not gonna stop them from tearing out. And I understand it, and I hear it every day just like you do.
Yeah.
But guys, we're approaching 20 million right now.
Yeah, we better stop.
Well, Bubba, I've on my house right now, I've got 6 exterior doors that have not been torn out. Because I don't have the new doors in yet to put them in. But at some point in time, there's gonna be storm debris, but the parish can't wait for my doors to come in to keep my
have to handle that on your own.
I'm gonna have to load them up in my pickup truck and haul them to the landfill and dispose of them myself. But, I think that's just something that, there are gonna be specific instances, but at some point in time,
Yeah, you
It's
gotta say
gotta come to
when,
an
that's
end
it,
and-
yeah, and this is perfect, I think that, and we're gonna put that in papers and things.
Yes, sir, it's gonna go out, everybody's ready to put it on their Facebook, and,
Miss Heidi gonna tweet it tonight.
It'll be on Facebook before we get in the truck.
I'm sure they are. One more, you don't have to vote on it, but if all of y'all feel good about it, we'll go ahead and do this.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you,
All
Mark.
right,
Thank
the
you.
last thing I'd like to cover on debris. We're approaching Christmas. I would like to allow our debris contractor to finish business on the 22nd of December and resume on the 2nd of January. I think they deserve that.
Yeah, they need to get
work
home. They not
hard.
off from
They
here.
need to go home for Christmas, and that's my recommendation. If you don't have a problem with it, I'm gonna give them the green light.
You in charge of that, Mark? That sounds good.
You got it.
It's important.
I appreciate it, and then I lied to y'all, up here. Every time we've talked about debris, on getting Mr. Talbert's by the 24th, we'll do it on the 22nd before we close business day.
Hey, Mark, I just got one more question. I didn't get to
come on,
read
Gary.
the letter, but just to clarify, they can't just have the debris out there by the 17th. They actually are gonna have to take action.
They've got to take action, they've got to
And what is that
notify
action
our
again?
office.
They're gonna have to notify your office.
And this tells them they can go, there's a email address. They can go on, send us an email, they can call our office, we'll take the information. However they want to get it to us, we'll get it on the list. But after the 17th, close of business on the 17th, it's over. It's time to cut it off. If you look at it, we're approaching 20 million. What's your 10%? It's,
2 million.
it's getting on up, that's right.
Mark, what is the status on the state highways? What are they gonna cut off, are they saying?
They're not, they're still here, and I've actually seen one truck work. So, and we cannot pick it up. It's not legal for us to touch it on the state right
On
of
the
way.
state highway.
Thank you.
So they,
They're gonna continue until they get all that?
They're telling me they are.
Cause that's a big deal up where I'm at, my district, Gary's district.
And look,
someone-
I mean,
1024s, I
Yeah.
don't think it's touched.
and we've had people call and I tell them I can't touch it on the state right of way. They push it back off the right of way.
Then-
And call
then
us
we
and
can go
say,
get
hey,
it.
it's in my yard.
Okay.
If someone is on a state highway, who should they get in touch with?
District 62 in Hammond.
Okay, that's who they'd call.
Hey, Mark, we may want to reiterate that, this is just flood debris. I'm afraid some people are going to be putting construction debris out there.
Well, they
That's
are.
kind of no-no, isn't it?
Okay. It doesn't say flood. I didn't know that. I just-
Mark, I just got a text from a YouTube listener. What about large appliances and white goods?
Whatever's eligible, we will pick it up.
You gotta notify them. You gotta
They
call
have
them.
to
So it's the
notify.
same thing. It's gotta be called, so if it's still out there now and it ain't been picked up, it needs to be called immediately.
Yes.
Because they made the white good pass already, and you got stuff coming in late, you gotta notify them or they're not gonna know where to go.
Yeah, they can't just cover every road. That,
You taking
that doesn't
questions
make
from
sense.
YouTube listeners?
Yeah, I'm trying to cut your costs down, and I don't wanna send trucks down every road if there's
Sure.
no debris.
Sure. So they need to call. Okay?
Yeah, we'll know what to tell them now, though, at least. Okay, appreciate
Thank y'all
that,
so
Mark.
much.
Thank you,
I
Mark.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Let me do it.
Thank you, Mark.
They ain't attempted to pick it up.
What you got?
I know we had something by Mr. Sam DiGirolamo, for planning commission recommendations, but Sam's not here this evening. So the Grays
Again?
Creek,
Again? Oh, we
Okay.
pulled it last time.
well, we also had a quick claim deed.
they wanted to wait till January.
So hold off on the quick claim,
No, the Cross Creek deal.
the Cross Creek? Okay, so then the preserve at Grays Creek Phase One, we'll pull that off the agenda. And then there's the, forest delap. I guess
That's where it's at.
Okay,
yeah.
and then, but then there's the public hearing and adoption of an ordinance for the quick claim. You want to hold off on that as well?
Yeah, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, we'll just, if that pleases the council, we'll.
Yeah, that's for Harold Davis.
Well, it's on the addendum. It was something on the
Okay.
addendum.
He's not here.
Okay, we'll add for the consideration, the roads located in Creekside Estates to the priority road list. And this was placed on the agenda by Mr. Scooter King.
Yep, that was me. You got plenty of calls from Creekside. The base and everything's failing throughout the whole subdivision. Layton knows they've been trying to figure out a solution. We just don't have the money to do all these roads, but they're gonna go out and inspect it
They at least need
and
to
check
put
it
in the-
Sure.
and get it down the list. And
So-
when we get to it, we'll get to it.
So a motion to
Motion,
place
yeah, to
Creek
place.
Haven Lane, Creek Valley Drive, Creek Hollow Court, Creek Bend Court, Clear Creek
Yeah, I think
Drive,
so.
and Hollow Creek Court on the priority list.
Yes.
Seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Gary Talbert. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? None being, that motion carries. Mr. Talbot.
16.
Okay. Let's skip down real quick to item 16, a public hearing and adoption of an ordinance. Let's refer this to Mr. Talbot, Chairman of the Budget Committee.
Finance Committee met today. We approved for recommendation the 2017 operating budget and amendments to the 2016 budget. You know, we've done the best we can, Ms. Jennifer has up to this point in time, with trying to anticipate what she anticipates as expenditures between now and the end of the year and possible revenue reimbursement. So, you know, I mean, because this is such a changing thing and you've got so many expenditures that you normally don't have in the month of December that could face us, she could miss, but at this point, we feel like that the amendment to the 2016 budget is the best that can be done at this point in time. So, we'd like for the council to recommend approval of the committee. Recommended approval to the council for, the 2016 amended budget and 2017 operating budget,
Motion to adopt the budgets as amended
as amended.
by Mr. Gary Talbot. Second by Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse. Any discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Was there discussion?
No.
Any nays? None being, that motion carries. Item 14 is a Fire Protection District 9. This was requested by Mr. Tab Lobel.
There's a guy down in Marpaw, he moved out of the district, so he can no longer be on the board. But that's Mr. Jerry Pratt, and he asked the chief down there
She had found a replacement, Mr. Sean Burgessy, and so I'd like to
Motion.
make a motion that he gets onto the board,
Okay.
the fire board for Marlboro, which is District 9.
Motion by Mr. Tableau, Ms. Sandy.
Can we please accept his resignation first for Mr. Jerry Pratt and then appoint Mr.
You
Sean
want to do two
Barsick?
different ones? Two different, okay. Motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Jerry Pratt by Mr. Lobel, seconded by Mr. Jeff Averett. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. So a motion to appoint
Sean Barsick.
Sean Bursick to the Fire District 9. Motion by Mr. Tab Lobel, second by Mr. Jeff Averett. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? That motion carries. Can you make sure, I guess, all of his contact information gets, you've already got it? Okay, we're good.
It's in your packet,
All right.
actually, in red.
Item 15 is a ordinance regarding, that was passed over for a public hearing, an adoption of an ordinance for smoking prohibition for this particular building and DMV. I don't know the council's pleasure on that, but I'd like to make a recommendation that we start off by adopting a resolution authorizing the parish president to work with Ms. Sandy Teal to put together some no smoking signs out here on the front of this building to eliminate a problem of people congregating in the front and creating smoking. Now, I'd like to make a recommendation if there be a motion from this council for that.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse.
Second.
Second
So
by
we're
Mr.
gonna defer the public hearing until, and we're gonna try the experiment first on the resolution.
That's what I'd like to see.
I think so.
You good with that?
I'm good with that, I'm good with that, guys.
Okay, so we're
Oh,
gonna,
the ordinance plan.
Ms. Sandy.
Can we word it a little bit different, that we're gonna table without a date, I guess,
yeah, that's,
Well, let's just go ahead and say
ordinance,
that,
or-
let's just go ahead and say that we're going to just.
Withdraw this ordinance.
Withdraw the
At this
changes.
time.
At this time, and then pass a resolution authorizing you
We
to
can
work
do
with
that,
Mr.
Louis?
Leighton Ricks to put some no smoking signs. Can y'all do that, Mr. Ricks?
So we need two different motions, one to withdraw and then one to pass the resolution.
Okay. Motion to withdraw the ordinance, second by Mr. Shane Mack. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? That motion carries. The next motion will be to pass a resolution authorizing Ms. Sandy to work with Mr. Leighton to put some no smoking signs and cigarette butt machines or fork benches or whatever.
I'll handle it.
Thank you, thank you.
hey, we won't do over here what you did over there. Okay.
Okay, motion by Mr. Girlinghouse, seconded by Mr. Gary Talbert. Any discussion? None being, that motion carries. All right. Oh, all in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition?
We got this guy.
That motion carries.
Yes.
I just want you to know, I'll have one more meeting as chairman after this meeting. One more.
You've done a fine job, John.
I think
So,
You gotta start one in December, you gotta start one in January.
he is, we done discussed it.
yeah,
He
okay,
gonna do
all
it
right, okay. Let's pick up, item, I'm gonna slip it, go to the addendum of the agenda on A3. Let's see. Is that the one? No, I'm sorry, A2. This is a motion or an ordinance that has been put together, we've sent to the council. We've all had a chance to look at it. And what it is, it's an introduction of an ordinance for a firing range in Livingston Parish. We've had some
I'm sorry, regulations for fire.
regulations for a firing range. That's an ordinance for regulations for a firing range. Last meeting, we had the request for someone to put a firing range, and it showed this parish council that we were lacking in an ordinance with regulations on firing ranges. So we went to work, put together an ordinance, a good draft. I think, Ms. Sandy, do you have copies of that here this evening?
I have the sample you
The
submitted.
samples, okay. And what it is, it's a pretty comprehensive, but it's still, we have a lot of work left to do. So what I'd like to do, get a motion from this council to introduce the ordinance and call for a public hearing. We don't even have to do it this month. We can do it for the first month in January, if that's okay. And that'll give us time to finish working out the details of this firing range regulation ordinance. Ms. Sandy does have some copies, so if anyone in the audience wants to have some input on how to make a good regulation firing range for Livingston Parish, please take a copy of it and look at it. And if you have some input, get with us and let us know. We have someone that has a question in the audience.
I'll just raise my hand for a copy.
Oh, okay, sure. Am I making myself clear? Am I covering everything okay?
So currently, we got an ordinance that says if you're within 2 miles, it's an up or down deed. That's, I mean, we've got an ordinance governing them, and all it does is allow the council to vote yes or no. So we feel that there's, that's a black and white deal. There's a lot of gray that needs to be addressed. So this ordinance that you're introducing will address those deals, and then we don't have to be so harsh on up or down.
Well, they'll know going in what the rules are.
Right.
So there's no, it takes the politics out of it. And so what we need is a motion from the council to, Ms. Sandy.
Mr. Chris,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to find it in the home rule charter, but anytime an ordinance is introduced, the council members are supposed to have it in front of them, and I'm supposed to read it by title.
We are supposed to read it by title. I think you've sent it, didn't you send it to them by email?
Yes, everyone has got it.
We actually had a committee meeting on it. Shane, we had a committee meeting. We just had some issues that we didn't have enough people. We held so it couldn't be an official meeting, but we had people from the community actually come and speak on it, and we've got some draft ideas on it. So
Yeah, I mean,
we've all
I think
received it.
that matters. Matt, what about reading it by title? You're not prepared to do that tonight?
I have it on my computer, but I didn't think we were going to introduce it tonight. I'm sorry. I can go print it out real quick.
Well, we can do it the next meeting if y'all.
I was gonna say that the ordinance it's got some good things in it, to regulate, shooting ranges, I think that there are a lot of modifications that's gonna be made, and we probably need to make those modifications, send it out, let people review it, and then go from there, because
Before we introduce.
Okay,
there's a lot of things
We can
in
still
there
vote on
that
it in the first.
maybe the,
it's your
Yeah.
pleasure.
yeah, I think we probably should wait maybe 2 more weeks and then introduce it. That'd be better, I think.
All right, we'll pull that item from the agenda.
Can I just mention one thing? Anytime you introduce something, that is how it's supposed to be presented unless you amend it. So if we have, say, 54 amendments to what was introduced, I have to say each and every amendment, and y'all have to vote on those.
Yes, we need to get it right before.
Yeah, we need to get it
Yeah,
real
let's-
close to being the
Oh,
last.
you
Well,
need to
then
get it a
we'll-
little closer to what our final.
Then we'll just
deal is gonna be
continue,
before
please
today.
continue to
Let's
work.
just table it tonight.
You just continue to work on it as a council, individually if you would, and then we'll get together if we need to in the audience committee and do it. So we'll pull that item off the agenda.
But the folks that may get a copy tonight, may
Yeah,
realize that
and
that
take
is-
it
that's
with
not the
you.
final.
Yeah, you need to understand that. It's definitely some multiple changes coming to it.
But y'all can make you can then take that ordinance and anything that you think's not relevant, you can make your notes, and anything you wanna change on it, you can make your notes, and then when we introduce it and we have the public hearing, you can come speak on items that you think need to be changed on it. So it'll help you at that point in time.
And this ordinance is not just for that area. This is for the whole parish. For anybody who wants to put a firing range. Did you have a question in the back? Yeah. Please. Come on up. Give us your name and
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's Trey Sanders. I kind of spoke about the firing range before and the need for an ordinance. And I just want to ask right quick, I know that there was supposed to be a vote tonight, maybe on the proposed range in our area, and it was tabled because the gentleman could not make it.
well, that's coming up after this.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that in just a second.
So I just want to make sure I understand the process. What I kind of understood from the informal ordinance committee meeting is that nothing would really be discussed on a range until an ordinance was in place, or it would be tabled till an ordinance was in place.
Let's get through this item and we'll
Okay.
address the next item. I think everybody's straight.
That's coming up right after this.
All right, thanks.
So what we're doing tonight, right now, we're asking for your help to help us create a good firing range regulation ordinance. That's what we're asking.
Trey, basically, the stuff that we talked about at that Friday morning meeting,
Yeah.
I think Shane's gonna do some work on it, get with Sandy, so that that'll be more representative of the ordinance that gets introduced 2 weeks from now. And then theoretically, after the holidays, that first meeting, we'll be able to have the public discussion on it and probably vote on it. And so you can take what you've got tonight, those that weren't here can look at it. Then when they get the thing next on the 15th, we'll actually have the one that is gonna be introduced. You can then get it, see what other things you might want done different. And then on the first meeting in January, if everything goes according to plan, then we should have the public hearing on it and vote on it at that point in time.
Okay.
But that's a separate issue than what we're getting ready to take up A1 in just a second.
Okay.
Thank you, Trey. And you may have another question. So we'll just remove A2 from the agenda tonight. We'll pick up A1. This particular item was added, I think by Mr. Tab Lobel, District 8, as regarding Mr. Foster wanting to put a firing range at this area. I believe he's currently asked to take it off again.
He couldn't make it to the meeting tonight. He called relatively short notice to ask if this item could be tabled. So I did communicate that to some of the folks that I thought were going to be here that were planning to come, just say, hey, he's not going to be here this evening.
Damn, it's an up or down thing. I know he's not gonna be here to speak, but I think we all pretty much know what we wanna do. We have the option of voting no, because it's within 2 miles of a house. If we continue to let this thing drag out while we're trying to regulate at the same time, we could create a problem for ourselves.
And then these people have to keep showing up.
I think we ought to my thing is we ought to determine what we want to do with this particular application at this point in time.
Okay.
And then create an ordinance after the fact. And if he wants to come back, if the vote doesn't go his way, then he can come back. But I think we need to address this tonight and quit pushing. What do you think, Mr. Chris?
Yeah, one important thing is you need to measure this gun range proposition on the ordinance you have in place now. If you want to decide to delay this until the new ordinance comes into play, then you're going to be in trouble.
Let's do it.
You ought to measure it on the ordinance in place now.
We got ordinance in place now that says if it's within 2 miles, we vote yes or no. We need to hear it based on that, so we don't have a legal problem down the road in the future.
Yeah, because it may even take a little longer than January. It may take 2 or 3 months to get this ordinance in place.
But to
We
get it
want to
right,
get it
you
right.
take the time, get it right.
Yeah, I think that makes more
Is
sense.
that all on the books now?
So right now,
Yeah, that's current ordinance.
his request does not meet the current
Ordinance.
His
It's
very
within-
loose.
It's
very
within your,
friendly
it's within your
ordinance.
discretion.
He's requesting now to have a gun range.
He
And the
wants a
ordinance
variance.
says if it's
No, he
within
wants
2 miles of
permission.
residence, the council has to approve it.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion
You're too late. Mr. Jeff Avery made a motion to deny
I second.
the gun range from Mr. J. Foster at this particular location at this time. Second by Mr. Gary Talbert. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? None being that, motion carries unanimous to deny approval for a gun range from Mr. J. Foster for this time at that location.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Bear with me just a second.
ATVs, 17.
Well, wait,
Thank you.
Go back to the regular agenda too.
We did that already, I believe.
All right.
I thought we did.
We
Did we
did.
go back to the regular?
We did.
Item 17, discussion of all-terrain vehicles and golf cart use that are being driven on parish public roads. Mr. Ara C. Bubba Harris.
Thank you. I've had a lot of people call and complain about the golf carts and the ATVs being driven in these subdivisions. And here's all the laws that says that you cannot do it. You have to treat those just like you do a vehicle. It's got to be licensed. The person driving has to be licensed. It has to have insurance on it. And we don't have the power as a council to enforce this, but this is what the law is. And I would just like for the papers, news media, whoever, to publicize this and let people know that it's illegal to do that. I happened to be going through a subdivision here a while back, and I saw a golf cart coming at me. And it got right to me before I saw a little bitty fella driving that thing. He could barely see over the steering wheel. I mean, you know, and what's really sad is if a child is out there riding on a public road and gets injured, killed, or whatever, then the person that hits them with their vehicle, they're gonna try to lay the blame on them, when really, it's not their fault. So, but that's, you know, that's just some things, and I don't know, you have to call the sheriff's office, I guess, to, take care of this, but I don't know.
Yeah, that would be something that the sheriff's office should have.
Yeah. No, we don't have the enforcement power for that.
They do have a lot of those golf carts and different ATVs now that can be used on the road, but they have to be like you said. They
Chris,
gotta
you
be
got a
licensed,
report?
they gotta have
You got a report? Okay.
certain lights, certain things on them. If they meet that, then they can ride wherever we can ride our car. If not, they need to stay off the road on it.
Next
I got
item-
mad about me,
I'm
too.
sorry.
What do we need to do?
Next item would be a district attorney report. I've just got confirmation from the district attorney, Mr. Scott, Chris Moody, that he has no report.
Motion to adjourn.
Real quick, I have a motion to adjourn. Is there anything any questions from anyone in the audience? I'd like to just make sure we open this up. Then we have a motion to adjourn, but that takes precedent. Is there a second by Mr. Tab Lobel? Any discussion? I hope everyone has a great Christmas, and I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? That motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.